Well, thought about starting this one off from a different spot, but I'm kind of lazy, so I didn't. Good morning, everyone. We're on the 8th of November. Now, see, you're not gonna really get to see this video until like, sometime the first week of December, 6th or the 7th or something. But that's kind of fitting. First of this month, first of that month. But kind of the first time I'll have done a video like this. First off, I'm saying first a lot. But thank you for everyone that has joined me on my 2024 honeybee escapades journey. And this my dog. Just say, he's a good boy. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 whistles. He knows Dad means it when it takes some claps. But birds are already eating all of this one. But you got to see everything from the spring blooms of these to the blackberries. Well, let's see. So the spring bloom was primarily, I think the first one is hazelnut filberts, I think people call them also. And that one's just a pollen, but it was right at a perfect time for my bees that made it through last winter. And then right out of that, by the grace of God, we had nice weather and came into the maple bloom, and it was a perfect maple bloom this year. If I had had bees of strength, I could have made some nice spring honey. And then, just as the maple bloom was kind of starting to drop off a little bit, the hawthorns all around started blooming. So if and when I'm able to and have strength in spring, I should be able to make a real nice, sweet, light spring honey of maple and hawthorn. We shall see. A bunch of bees out on the doorstep. Sure cleaning on that one girl. Half a dozen after her. They call that aggressive cleaning. But that was about when I got the new starts. And this year, instead of buying Nooks, I went and I had pre-reserved and ordered or whatever my queens from Old Sol apiaries down in Rogue River, Oregon. They've been running breeding programs for like 20-25 years, kind of working at making a good Northwest bee. And I kind of figured, why do I want to repeat the work that someone else has done, and they're a whole lot smarter about it than I am. So I started looking up reviews and that sort of thing. I even, back at that time, I had a Facebook. And I went on Facebook and actually looked them up on Facebook. There are a lot of the local beekeepers and the local club and such that there was recommendations and reviews and that sort of thing. Let's see, they're getting a little bit of moisture. Easy, girls. I'll be out your way in a second. And I don't know, I spent about 6 months kind of researching any of the local queen producers that I was able to research online. There's others. I think I'll put some more tape on that. There's others that are, you know, smaller and that sort of thing. But I was curious. And so we looked online, and that's what I found. So that first year, I ended up with some of their stock, trying to fix failures. But I got started with them late, and they didn't make it. None of my queens made it that year, nor none of my hives made it that year. But then we packed everything up that year, and we started on building the yard down here. There's been a progression video for how my yard kind of got moved down here and that sort of thing. About a month ago. No, maybe 3 weeks ago, two weeks ago. And then I restarted that next year. That second year, I kind of ran into nothing but queen problems. I started off with, oh, I don't want to get stung by a yellow jacket. I started off with 6 nooks. And then I also bought, I don't remember, 4 or 5 colonies from Harris instead of nooks. And I couldn't keep queens in them that year. Anything that I bought or anything that they made, they just kept replacing. So we split down real hard and just kind of went for make as many queens as they can. And I still got to deal with that. So that we can hopefully find some that they feel like keeping. And we went into winter with, I think it was 10. And I knew that I needed to find out what I needed to do for wintering. So I did some different configurations. I did different levels of food. I did different numbers of bee frames. I did, you know, I tried to figure it out. And the yellow jackets are out and about today. And I came out of winter, I think it was 4. So I lost 6 of them. But I'd say that 2 of them, yellow jackets come running out of there. I like that. Were surprises. The rest of them I thought was a possibility. And then when I determined that they were losses, I combined them to help give the remainders a better chance, that sort of thing. But I made it to spring with 4, and then I made it through spring, well, through early, I made it to early spring with 4, and I made it through early spring with 2. So I came into our full bee season spring with 2 colonies, and then I started 10 of them. I started 6 of the Saul stock and 4 of the Caucasians. And then I proceeded to also try and rebuild my Carniolan stock. Now this Carniolan stock is built off those 2 survivor hives as far as for queens and that sorts of thing. So far they seem to be pretty good this year. But and then we came into blackberries. Okay, like I said, we came into blackberries, and at blackberries I want to mention something that I don't know is always so much the case in other parts of the country. One, we get a real nice water supply for them. Nice, cool, damp climate, in the spring. But we have two types of blackberries here. We have these viney ones with the small leaves that they make smaller berries. They're the natives. And then we have the larger ones with the larger leaves and the bigger vines. They vine, but they don't vine the same way these do. These crawl along the ground, and any place that they get, I mean, you can see them here. Any place that they get, they drop down a root. But they start to bloom about 2 weeks before the Norwegians. And then also, because of my tree cover and so much of my bees forage is back, in here and such, I get longer bloom time. Maybe not as high a volume, but maybe like a week longer. And so at the time that the natives were starting to bloom is when I started the new colonies. And like I mentioned earlier, I had pre-ordered the queens and such. In fact, it was November of that previous year that I had put my order in, end of November, right around Thanksgiving. But I also set up to buy brood frames from Harris. I decided to make my own nooks instead of buying them. So each colony, within varying degrees, got set up with a brand new fresh queen and 3 frames of brood and about 2 frames of food, their feeder, and that sort of thing. So I just decided that, well, since I had had a hard time with nooks in the past, I'll just make my own. And so that's what we did. And honestly, unless I see some track record from the beekeeper, if I buy nooks, I'm going to do that same thing again. Yeah, it looks like they've got most all that cleaned out. That's good. Because then I have a little more control over what it looks like. But so we set them up pretty much same way they are now, except for they weren't full boxes of bees. They was baby bees. But they, sorry if that was too fast. But they got started right as our blackberries were kicking up. And like I said, it was the natives that were starting. So I was about 2 to 3 weeks of being into the Norwegian blackberries blooming, which is our major flow. And because of real nice weather, we had a bumper blackberry crop this year. And I think my bees found every blackberry and every hawthorn bloom there was within a mile. But yeah, with all of this right out the front door, and a lot of our area around us looks the same. But I decided to use that blackberry bloom as my growth springboard. And so that's when I did my splits and my starts and my, all of that type of stuff. We used that food abundance to grow bees. And at that point is when we come into what I feel is my one major mistake. And we all make mistakes or do something, that we consider a mistake. But my own assessment of a major mistake was at that time, I for about 2 weeks thought about going after blackberry honey, and I forgot that we were only building bees this year. And so I put supers on my hives and and we did all of that. Oh, don't sting me. The only thing we did was slow down their growth for a little bit, because they started putting effort into fixing those up and that sort of thing. And that was wasted bee work hours this year. So that's the one thing that I think I did that kind of set my bees back about 2 weeks. Now, I don't think it was a big thing. I got some supers cleaned up more, but and repaired up more. But it did focus that effort for those 2 weeks or what have you in those supers instead of in their brood box. So basically I'd say it was counterproductive. It was still productive, but it was productive in the wrong direction at that time. So then I took those back off and got stuff condensed back down, you know, and that sort of thing, so that they could get back focused on getting set up for this year. Let's see. So that brings us to about the end of blackberries, and that puts us into about the first week of July, and that was when I made sure to get and have that mixing tank up there ready. So that's when we started doing all that feeding. Now, something I did this year when I was trying to repopulate my Carniolans and maybe make a few of the others and such, but I didn't want to use a whole lot of resources, so I took, that lid is heavy, my long hive that I got from Harris, and I made it up into breeding banks. Worked out pretty good. This winter I'll refine it and do stuff. Dead bees. Needs to be cleaned out. But might build me another one and set it right here. Have you know, 10 or 12 mating nooks, because I want to convert this here. I have a picture on my community page. It's I call them nook banks, and what I'm wanting to build them for is staging nooks, so that they can come out of those hives when they fill up that, come here into a 5/5 and build up through that, and then they'll end up going down into a single come fall. So we'll start there, progress to here, grow through the season, and then end up down there in the fall. Or if they don't merit that size, they'll stay in a nook bank here for the winter. And I'll make some adjustments to this so that I can put a shelter roof over it. But there's that. No, I guess that falls into a winter project, not a wrap up. Well, I think I kind of covered most everything. Oh, then what, over the last 2 weeks, I don't remember, I got my winter feeding shims built. But you all will have just seen those videos pretty recently. See, kind of a dip right there. And the making of them and all of that. Used the last of my sugar up. You got to see kind of a bit what they were looking like, or at least as much as I have. So, you know, as much as I do. I can honestly say that the worst of my colonies looks pretty good compared to last year. Pretty good compared to last year. Now, I wish they were heavier, but that's only based off of my understanding of wintering in double deeps. And pollen going in. I don't know where they're finding pollen, but they're still finding some of it. But as of yesterday, what was it, the 7th? They're done ready for winter. Oh, come on. Don't go away. She didn't want me sitting there. Or I should say, I didn't want to find out if she didn't want me sitting there. I see pollen going in there. Pollen over there. I hope that's a good thing. But I don't remember what I was saying. I think it's been a real good season this year. They've had a good natural pollen source all year long, all season long. Obviously still finding some of it now. What are we, the 8th of November? They're nice looking bees. See, pollen going in there. A little bit of pollen going in all of them that I see. Oh, I forgot to take care of their mouse guard over here. I'm gonna have to adjust that so that they can pull their debris out. But yeah, I think even the worst of them this year look better than they did last year. I think they've got the right amount of space, and they've got plenty of extra food on top of them now. I think it's supposed to get cloudy. Yeah, we got high clouds moving in pretty quick too. I'll bet we're raining by tonight. But we got it all done. All I'm gonna do with that is pry up corner where they're going through right there so that they can pull them out. Then they'll be fine. But they're coming in somewhere. Must be across the street. But yeah, I was kind of thinking on how I wanted to wrap this one up. You know, we've gotten about 20 minutes here. And I guess I'll wrap it up with a thank you. Thank you for joining me and following me through my 2024 honeybee beekeeper journey this year. Any of the new stuff will be getting ready for next season. I think they might do well this year. My boys are having a good day. They don't like all the construction sound and stuff back east of us. Most of the hives have real good population. All of them have pretty good population, I think. Even the smaller ones, I think, are pretty good for their size. Everybody's looked good on food. I wish some had some more, but you know, we always wish that. Well, I guess maybe we all don't, but it's the way it is here. Now it's just a matter of seeing how well all of this comes together and does through the winter. dust off my head. I don't know, but I know they look better than last year. So